some really one-sided matchups this weekend in the NFL because you have the Bears in Philly to take on the Eagles. You have the Dolphins in New England to take on the Pats. And the Pats have 5 games left in the division and the December 17th game at Pittsburgh. That's it. That's all that's left. And the way the teams in the AFC East are playing, I mean, although you always have to watch New England when it goes to Miami, I can't even see Miami the way things are going right now, even being the threat in that game. But usually that's been the one place where Brady has struggled, has been in Miami. But the 5 games in the division and then the Pats, I mean, then the Steelers, hard to see them losing any games as far as the division goes. They're almost 16.5-point favorites this week. The Steelers are a 14-point favorite over a Green Bay team that can't score. The Eagles are headed towards a 14-point favorite over the Bears at home. So you have 2 games that are 14, 1 game 16.5, and 2 others that are up there. You have the Falcons and the Chiefs, who are both 9.5, 10-point favorites. So you have a lot of games this week where you have, and even the Bengals are an 8-point favorite over the Browns. So you have a lot of games this week that are one-sided games. You don't have any tomorrow. You know, the biggest game will be the Redskins. But you have a lot of them this weekend, a lot of one-sided games with enormous point spreads, which you haven't seen a lot of in this league this year. But you happen to have those situations this weekend with a lot of those teams playing home and, you know, against teams that have really struggled. And then you have the Seahawks going to the 49ers, but as beat up as the Seahawks are, you know, they could have their hands full with the 49ers. You know, the 49ers maybe a little rejuvenated, might even make the game relatively close right now because they have so many problems, the Seahawks do, with the injuries in their secondary and everywhere else. So it's not really a monster matchup. The best matchup on the weekend is the Saints and the Rams. That's the one you're going to learn the most about. The Saints, with that winning streak, go out to take on the Rams, who come off the loss to the Vikings. So you have that game there, which will be interesting and be very telling towards the NFC postseason. Other than that, I mean, the Bucs have won a couple of games in a row. Now they go to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. But hard to see the Falcons, you know, losing that game. Maybe it's closer than the point spread might indicate, but it's hard to see them losing that game. Really is, coming off their big win. All right, let's get to the games. And then, of course, you have the big games tomorrow. Vikings and Lions, the Chargers and the Cowboys, and the Redskins and the Giants. Chargers keeping their hopes alive that they can sneak in the back door. We'll see what happens. I think Kansas City, everyone's written Kansas City off last week. Lost 4 out of 5, can't score anymore. I think they're going to beat the Bills this week. I think they're going to come back across the country, and as long as they don't get a monsoon, they'll probably beat the Jets next week, coming back here, as long as they don't get a real windy day again, because he didn't handle wind well at all, Alex. But I think that team will be tough to handle in that spot. So if they turn around and that 6-4 becomes 8-4, they're gone in that division at that point. So I don't think Kansas City's in any real trouble. Now, they're not going to be the 1 or the 2. They're most likely going to be the 3. They'd probably have to beat both Pittsburgh and New England to get to the Super Bowl. They don't play well against the Steelers anyway. They probably have to play him off a win in Pittsburgh. But there's a very, very strong case that the Chiefs could still be the 3 seed. It could be the 4, and Jacksonville could be the 3. That's possible also. That is possible. I mean, Jacksonville could play to that level. Tennessee has a game at the Colts this week. Jaguars have a game at the Cards this week. Both those teams are vulnerable in any spot on the road. But I still think Kansas City's got a good chance to be the 3. Moving to college basketball, there's a lot of tournament games. There's a lot of games this afternoon, as there always are. You know, Nova's playing in a little while down in the Bahamas. If you're interested in the game tonight, if you're home and you got something, you want to see a good game, Notre Dame, Wichita State, 10:30 championship game of that tournament in Hawaii. That's a good game. Notre Dame's got a good team. They're already off to a nice start. Wichita State, as you know, has got a good team. They were losing the Cal in the first game of this tournament. They were down 15 in the second half, came back, won the game by 10, beat Marquette yesterday by 14. LSU beat Michigan. Notre Dame beat LSU, and now Notre Dame's in the final against Wichita State, which will be a fun game tonight. And a fun game of styles, because the way Notre Dame plays, it's an interesting contrast to the very, very tenacious defense that Wichita State plays against the really ultra-sophisticated for college game and the offense that Notre Dame plays. So Notre Dame plays some of the most really interesting and sophisticated offense on the college level, and Wichita State is a real, dig in, play tough. Now, they'll take a lot of threes to Wichita State, and they are a gritty team with a very good point guard who's really ready to be their next star. But they are a gritty defensive team, and that'll be a good matchup tonight. That game starts sometime around 10:30, I think, this evening. All right, let's get to the phone and see what's going on.